Okay.
I mean, at the very basic, when you think, like, how should people think about artificial intelligence? Like, if you're going to explain it to one of your younger children, you would say artificial intelligence is what?
It's just digital intelligence. And as the algorithms and the hardware improve, that digital intelligence will exceed biological intelligence by a substantial margin. It's obvious.
When you say that will exceed human intelligence, at some point soon, the machine's going to be smart, not just smarter, like exponentially smarter than any of us.
Ensuring that the advent of AI is good, or at least we try to make it good, seems like a smart move.
But we're way behind on that.
Yes, we're not paying attention. We worry more about what name somebody called someone else than whether AI will destroy humanity. That's insane.
Before we get to like solutions,
we're like children in a playground.
This could be a huge problem for society. What are the scenarios that scare you most?
Humanity really is not evolved to think of existential threats in general. We're evolved to think about things that are very close to us, near term, to be upset with other humans, and not to really to think about things that could destroy humanity as a whole. But then in recent decades, just really in the last century, we had nuclear bombs, which could potentially destroy civilization, obviously. We have AI, which could destroy civilization. We have global warming, which could destroy civilization, or at least severely disrupt civilization.
Excuse me, how could AI destroy civilization?
You know, it would be something in the same way that humans destroyed the habitat of primates. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be destroyed, but we might be relegated to a small corner of the world. When Homo sapiens became much smarter than other primates, it pushed all the other ones into small habitats. They're just in the way.
Couldn't AI, even in this moment, just with the technology that we have before us, be used in some fairly destructive ways?
You could make a swarm of assassin drones for very little money by just taking the Face ID chip that's used in cell phones and having a small explosive charge and a standard drone, and have them just do a grid sweep of the building until they find the person they're looking for, ram into them, and explode. You can do that right now. No new technology is needed. Right now.
People just think this stuff is of sci-fi novels and movies, and it's so far away. But every time I hear you speak, it's like, well, no, this stuff is sitting. It's right here.
Probably a bigger risk than being hunted down by a drone is that AI would be used to make incredibly effective propaganda. That would not seem like propaganda.
So these are deep fakes.
Yeah, influence the direction of society, influence elections. Artificial intelligence just hones the message, looks at the feedback, makes this message slightly better. Within milliseconds, it can adapt its message and shift and react to news. And there's so many social media accounts out there that are not people. Like, how do you know it's a person, not a person?
One reason that regulators and others are a little bit in denial about this is the speed, the pace of change. What is the consequence of that speed of change?
The way in which a regulation is put in place is slow and linear,
right?
And we are facing an exponential threat. And if you have a linear response to an exponential threat, it's quite likely the exponential threat will win. That, in a nutshell, is the issue.
You're a neuroscience company, and you're working to build basically an interface to the brain.
Yeah. Electrode to neuron interface at a micro level.
Okay, what is it? Like, I'm gonna have like a plug in my head that's gonna fit into a hard drive? Like, or how does that work?
Yeah. A chip and a bunch of tiny wires.
This would be implanted surgically. And it would do what? Could you input? Could you download Jim?
Yes.
What
The long-term aspiration for Neuralink would be to achieve a symbiosis with artificial intelligence, and to achieve a sort of democratization of intelligence, such that it is not monopolistically held in a purely digital form by governments and large corporations.
Basically, an effort for man to merge with machine in a healthy way.
Yes.
To beat machines, you basically have to merge with machines.
Most likely, yes. Essentially, how do we ensure that the future constitutes the the sum of the will of humanity. And so if we have billions of people with a high bandwidth link to the AI extension of themselves, it would actually make everyone hyper smart.
Okay, so
This is very esoteric.
yeah, no, but you say this is more psi than phi, so you believe we're headed this
I
way.
believe this can be done.
When will I be able to get the interface implant?
It's probably on the order of a decade. And by the way, you kind of have this already in a weird way, in that you have a digital tertiary layer in the form of your phone, your computers. You basically have these computing devices that form a tertiary layer on your cognition already.
So wait, we have that imprint in our brain, implant in our brain.
Yeah.
We download most of Jim. Then could I, in the digital Jim,
Yes.
could I make him a skilled Mandarin speaker or a tuba player
Yes.
and re-upload it to him?
Yeah. Along the way, Neuralink is going to help solve a lot of nerve problems. Like, so, in fact, we're just talking about, okay, what would it take to really solve for spinal cord injuries? We already know how to do this. Implant electrodes into the motor cortex of the brain, and then bypass the severed section of the spine and have effectively local microcontrollers near the muscle groups. It could restore full limb functionality. Very exciting what can be done here. And it's just memory. Like, as people get older, they lose their memory. And so saying, it's incredibly sad when a mother forgets her children, and that can be solved too.
I've seen you speak in person, we've watched some of your interviews. Like sometimes you seem visibly sad about what's happening.
I think we should try to take the set of actions that are most likely to make the future good for humanity. I'm pro-human. And my faith in humanity has been a little shaken this year, but I'm still pro-humanity.
You've said that this has been the toughest year for you, the most sort of taxing year for you. Like, why?
Well, I mean, Tesla really faced a severe threat of death due to the Model 3 production ramp. Essentially, the company was bleeding money like crazy, and just if we didn't solve these problems in a very short period of time, we would die. And it was extremely difficult to solve them.
How close to death did you come?
Within single-digit weeks.
22 hours a day, or like what? How many hours?
Just working, so 7 days a week, sleeping in the factory. I worked in the paint shop, general assembly, body shop.
You ever worry about yourself imploding? Like it's just too much?
Absolutely. No one should put this many hours into work. This is not good. And people should not work this hard. They should not do this. It's very painful.
Painful in what sense?
It hurts my brain and my heart. It hurts. This is not recommended for anyone. I just did it because if I didn't do it, then good chance Tesla would die.